It's the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in.
If you're someone who lives in an area where it's so expensive to buy real estate and you feel like it's impossible, then I have something for you. I just released a free guide that's going to give you the 8 steps you need to take to buy your first out-of-state property. I bought several properties out of state, living in California, investing in Ohio, and you could do the same. It's just a matter of having the right information. So click the link in the description of this episode to get your free guide today.
You mentioned your wife's aunt, right? Is the partner on that one?
Yeah.
So it seemed like she was pretty open, but what are like the details of it? Is she passive and y'all are handling everything? Is she more active? Because you mentioned it, obviously depends how people want to be involved.
Right.
So how was she involved?
Yes, so she's passive, very
Okay.
100% passive.
Okay.
All she wanted was her distributions. So her monthly distributions, as long as those come, she's cool.
Yeah.
And she also wanted. She didn't know that she wanted it, but now that she took advantage of it, she likes it, which are the tax deductions.
Yeah.
So she's a high income earner from a W-2 standpoint, but she didn't have any deductions beyond her primary residence mortgage interest.
Mm-hmm.
So then now that she is a real estate investor, she generated K-1 from our partnership, and then that K-1 flows into her personal tax returns, giving her some additional deductions.
Right.
And then so she was able to take advantage of that significant portion in 2021 tax returns, and then we're preparing 2022 now, and then she'll be able to benefit even greater because we've had the properties longer.
Got it. And it's been like what, 3 years or so? 3 years?
2.5.
2.5. Got
Yeah.
you. So that's good. I'm glad you broke that down. So it sounds like it's important to make sure, like, what do they want? If it's a family member, what are they looking for? How involved do they want to be? Do they just want a distribution?
Right.
Do they want to know everything and be hands-on? So I think that's good advice for people as a starting point. And then, of course, the contract, making sure the agreement, making sure there's proper details in there and it's clear, like who's responsible for what the terms are.
Right.
All those things, right?
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Got it. So something else that I was thinking about was out of state investing, right? I invest out of state. A lot of people invest out of state. Many people live in expensive cities on the coast or in different areas. And in many cases, it's a lot cheaper to invest out of state. And a lot of people have trouble conceptualizing it because you're not there. So how do y'all do it? Do you manage it yourself? Do you have a property manager? How does that work?
Oh, yeah. Great question. So I'll talk about the conceptual portion and then the call it the process as well. So process is there are people who will buy out of state sight unseen. I'm not there yet, so I still go to check out the places that we're going to buy. But with FaceTime and Zoom, you don't necessarily need to be there, but you should take a look at it at least virtually. We have a property management company so the same gentleman who sold us the properties in Texas, he also has a property management business or arm to his operation. And so when I flew out to Texas before we bought the properties, I met with him. I met his wife. And his wife runs the operations of the property management arm, and really liked the vibe that I got from them. What I really enjoyed is it's a Black-owned business.
Mm-hmm.
He's a brother from Trinidad, and she's a sister from Detroit. And what was nice is his wife looks like my aunt, so that made me feel good. And we're able to recycle the Black dollar across state lines. So that part was very good. And then they offer these owner statements that come every month. So I always take a look at those and see what's going on with the properties. And then if something is off with that, I give them a call and say, hey, what's going on with these, with all these expenditures. and we had a couple of crucial conversations about it. And then we were able to get on the same page eventually because let me say it very clearly. I knew they weren't trying to rob me. But some of the expenditures needed to be kept in a better line, kept in line better. Now, when it comes to the conceptual part of investing out of state, a lot of folks have trouble with it because they're like, well, I can't touch it, I can't drive by it, and it's like, but you have to think that's actually a good thing if you can't drive by it and you can't touch it. That means you won't get in the weeds, getting bothered with it, like being paranoid about it. And then there's another thought is, and I wish I could say I came up with this, but think about if you invest with Microsoft or you invest in Google, you invest in Apple, Disney. Do you pull up on Bob Iger and say, what y'all working on? When's Black Panther 3 coming out? You invest in those companies in the stock market, and you let them do their thing with the implicit understanding that they're going to maximize your value as a shareholder. So same thing with when you invest out of state. You are investing in something that you're not touching, that you're not seeing all the time, and there's the implicit understanding that they're going to maximize the value of that property. So like once folks can conceptualize it that way, makes a huge difference. Something else that helped me as well is so I'm a huge fan of the Bigger Pockets network, and so they have a book on real estate, long distance real estate investing. I read that book in 2 days. I told my wife, hey, watch the kids. We only had one kid at the time. So watch the kid. Please let me read this. And she was cool. And I read the whole thing in 2 days. And I said, I'm going to run this play. And it made perfect sense.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. A lot of people don't like property managers, and many people end up using them. Like what's 3 tips you would give somebody to effectively find and work with a property manager?
Ooh, great question. I'll say number 1, interview them, and ask them. Call it behavioral, open-ended questions on how they would handle certain issues. And then the answers you're going to be looking for are something that's going to help save you money. So ask them about, how do they handle tenant calls? Say like with a broken faucet, do they try to walk them through fixing it themselves, or do they automatically go to a handyman, or do they automatically go to a plumber? I would ask them about how they fill their vacancies, because any real estate investor will tell you vacancies kill you. So ask them how they fill vacancies, and ask them how they handle evictions. Those are huge. And I'll say with the evictions, you want to make sure that they have a foolproof process in place. They're able to clearly articulate it to you, so that when that happens, because it's going to happen, when that happens, that they already have a plan in place to get it taken care of for you. And if they can talk to you succinctly about how they take maintenance calls, how they fill vacancies, and how they handle evictions, those would be the top 3 things I would say to pay attention to.
There you have it. Pay attention, y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. So out-of-state investing, I'm glad we were able to dive into that. It's definitely a topic that is important. It's important for people to consider and know that it is possible, and you can do it in a variety of ways. So let's talk more about the LA investing, because it's not cheap in LA.
Correct.
And I know you have a couple of properties out here that has some family involvement. So can you talk about those?
Yes, absolutely. So thankfully, we just closed on a 4-plex here in Los Angeles. And so with that one, we partnered with my parents. And so that took a while to get them to understand and get on board, but they did. And I'm very, very, looking to the camera, I'm very appreciative of you for the trust. And so the way the way that worked was they needed to see my wife and I do it and show that we're serious with it. And then also, so my aunt-in-law invested with us, and then my sister-in-law invested with us as well. So those were our first two investors. So I had been mentioning that to my parents on an ongoing basis. And then my mom, she would drop, I don't want to say hints, but she would lament about her, the amount of taxes she would have to pay. Mm-hmm. They're both retired, and the only deduction that they have is their primary mortgage insurance interest, which was very, very low, mm-hmm. Because their house was almost paid off. It's actually paid off now. The first mortgage is. Very happy about that. So that's where the salesperson in me says, "Hey, the client is telling you what their pain points are, so let's act upon this."
What's up, y'all? Sam here from the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Thank you so much for watching another episode. Definitely take a moment to subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Also, visit our website, blackrealestatedialogue.com, and follow on Instagram @Black Real Estate Dialogue. Talk to you soon.